What up guys, Nerd Scum here. It is September 6, 2017, and that means after almost 6 months of lead up, we are finally here. Venomverse number 1. This issue is written by Colin Bunn of Six Gun, Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, and multiple X-Men stories throughout the years, and it is also drawn by Bon Cagliostro.
Hey! We get the joke, you're stupid! Get on with it already!
A very talented artist who's worked on Silver Surfer, Justice League Beyond, Captain America and the Mighty Avengers, and again, just so many more titles. So, alright guys, I know that y'all have been really excited for this. I've been pretty excited about it. All my thoughts on the Edge of Venomverse event leading up to this is put down in videos that I put out before. I encourage you to go check those out. But right now, we're going to go ahead and dive into Venomverse number 1.
So we start off with Jack-o'-lantern tearing ass through the city, complaining about how every time he thinks he's rid of this freak, he's just on him again. No respect for his boundaries. And then someone off panel says, "Sorry, Jack, but I guess Mama didn't teach me good manners." And Venom jumps in. Classic Eddie Brock Venom. And basically then he just commences to beat the crap out of him until Jack is like, "Alright, you got me, take me in." And he's like, "Take you in? You must have me confused with someone else." And he drops him. And then these dudes are like, "Oh my gosh, is he dead?" And Venom lands on him, and he screams. At this point, like, the dudes are basically like, "Hey man, are you gonna kill him?" And Venom's like, "Oh no, he's gonna be fine. He'll live. But we don't feel so good." And at that point, the portal thing that we've seen happen in all of the Edge of Venomverse books basically happens and takes him. And one of the kids is like, "Anybody get video of that?" So then we get a 2-page spread just giving us a basic rundown of who Eddie Brock is and how he became Venom and so on and so forth. So the portal reemerges and spits him out, and he's trying to get his bearings and figure out where he is. He's in this demolished city, and then all of a sudden this ghostly kid shows up, and Eddie pulls off the symbiote face to talk to him, and he reaches out, and right about as he's about to touch him, all of a sudden, whap! Captain Venom's shield smacks the kid in the head and then gets retracted by a tendril. And Captain Venom's like, "I don't have any time to explain. Like, you were almost killed by that thing. That's a monster, not a little boy. You have to come with me now. I'll explain when I can." And so then they make their way through the city. And he's saying, "I'll tell you everything I can as soon as we get to the rest of them." And then boom, we get this big, awesome double-page spread, which shows us bunches and bunches of the different characters that we saw in the Edge of Venomverse, as well as a cool Black Panther Venom and Agent Venom, which I know is going to make a lot of people happy to see him show up, Rocket Venom, which we've actually had before in another story, and a bunch of other characters, which is all pretty awesome. And of course, classic Spider-Man, but in the symbiote suit, is just like, wait a minute, I know that guy. And then basically it's revealed that the guy who brought them together is all Doctor Strange Venom. I don't know what name these people are actually going by, so I'm just going to call them their name and Venom, or some variation on. So Doctor Strange Venom basically has called all of them together because there are these creatures traveling through the multiverse, basically devouring, assimilating, and destroying the symbiotes. And he has basically put together all these people to fight it. At which point Eddie's like, "Nothing's coming after me. I ain't fighting nothing." To which Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and him get into it because, again, he's like, "Man, I know Eddie Brock, and Eddie Brock's a tool. He's a dick. We don't want him." And he's like, "You don't know me." And he's like, "Well, you don't know me." And they start getting into it. But then, as this is all progressing, then all of a sudden, Parker is like, "Oh no, my spider sense, you were followed. You led them, right?" Smash! all of a sudden, this huge, scaled, doomsday abomination-looking dude smashes through and starts just tearing through him. Boom, 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 puny Venom. And that's whenever I first realized, holy crap, whatever's going on, like, this is the Hulk. Like, this weird, doomsday abomination-looking thing is the Hulk. And so, Captain Venom gets it pretty bad. He tells them all to scramble to get Strange out of there, and they all just start bolting. Like, there's a pretty cool little fight that goes down here, but really it's all just to buy time for the others to get out. And then the bomb that Rocket's been assembling, he's told to use it, and just blows the crap out of the whole area. Hopefully, just eliminating that problem altogether, but basically they're like, there's going to be more coming, and we got to keep moving. So it ends up with Eddie Brock, Venom, and symbiote suit Spider-Man, Peter Parker, together on the run. So they go out in the street, and Eddie's just like, if I know what we're fighting, I am going to be a lot better in this fight, and they kind of start bickering a little bit more, and he's telling them that basically the thing devours the symbiotes, and, like, there's nothing left of you. It's more like a collective, it's not so much a symbiote as it is like a collective parasitic organism. And this is what they look like on their own, these little, I don't know, I'm going to call them bone babies. Within the story, they're called poisoners. Because they poison symbiotes and kill them. But whenever they're not attached, I'm going to call them bone babies, because that's what they look like. They're frickin' bone babies. They're cute, and they're cool. Moving on. So yeah, they're just hauling ass through the city, and they get into their whole little argument, but then of course it's broken up. This is a nice little lead-in where he's just like, don't act like you know me, and he's like, don't act like I want to, and then we get this, oh, we want to know you. Very well, in fact. Your memories, your hopes, your dreams, you will live on in us. And you have this, which is frankly kind of ridiculous looking. Kind of ridiculous looking poison Doc Ock bone baby thing going on. And Parker reminds him, he's like, just try not to think of these as people that you used to know. Because Venom, Eddie Brock is just like, yeah, well, you used to beat him all the time, this should be no problem. He's like, no, it's not the same thing, it's not the same guy. So they get into it, and Venom takes one just right through the middle and gets just slammed out hard. And for one reason or another, he's having a little bit of trouble with his symbiote regenerating him. And then all of a sudden we see the bone baby sneaking up on him, and Parker's like, don't even let it touch you. All it takes is one touch, and you're gone. So then Parker gets nabbed by Doc Ock, and the bone baby starts getting close. He's just like, back off, you little bastard. And he uses a symbiote tendril to like grab a rock and smash it right in its little bone baby face, which apparently kills them. They seem pretty durable once they attach to another life form, but I'm guessing that in their little bone baby form, they're actually pretty vulnerable, which is probably why they're bone and sharp and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, yeah, Parker, symbiote Spider-Man is just really starting to get it. Like, yeah, he's in trouble. But luckily about that time, Eddie's finally back up, and looks like his symbiotes managed to patch him up, and he just frickin' hauls off and slams right into the back of Home Dude's frickin' head, and bites through. Honestly, that's a little... I don't know if he's supposed to be biting through his neck or one of his tendrils, but he bites through something, and it does not look like it feels good. Okay, it's probably the wrapping, the symbiote wrapping that he's got Peter in. Either way, yeah, that's pretty vicious. And so then basically he picks up a stick of piece of rebar, and is just like, bring it. At which time also we see that Spider-Man's all messed up and everything, and here's this voice from off-panel Peter. So Venom and Doc Ock, Bone Baby go at it, and May starts talking to Peter, asking him if he's okay, saying she's worried about him. Venom frickin' lodges the rebar right in Doc Ock's Bone Baby skull face. Pretty much just taking him out for the count. He is done. I mean, we don't know about these creatures' regenerative properties, but as far as we can tell, at least for now, he's done. At which point May reaches for Peter's hand, saying that Uncle Ben is at home waiting, and he goes to take it. Venom, not noticing this, says, "See, Spider-Man, I told you we could take An advertisement. No. But no, what you actually get is Spider-Man. He's gone now. But I'm gonna do what he never had the guts to even try. I'm gonna kill Venom. So you have basically Venom-suited Spider-Man with the bone babies on them, and basically making this thing that looks much like anti-Venom. And so again, the bone babies are called the poisons, and they poison and kill the Venom. So I'm actually wondering if maybe these are in fact an evolution of the kind of anti-Venom offshoot of the symbiotes, because that would be really interesting. But yeah, that is it for this issue.
Right on, guys. That was Venomverse #1. And it was pretty pimp! Yeah, I really enjoyed this freaking book, man. I don't know about you guys, but the artwork was really solid all the way through. There were a lot of really cool images. There were a few panels where I felt like maybe there were a few things missing to get from point A to point B. But all in all, like, the backgrounds were good. The coloring was really fantastic. Just in general, the art itself was really solid. It wasn't, like, amazing, but it was more than serviceable and really worked for the story they were telling. Like, all the characters looked cool. Even the characters who in the, like, lead-up Edge of Venomverse books didn't look very cool. They looked awesome. The writing in the book was pretty solid. Like, it was minimalistic plot and minimalistic exposition for the most part, and we got a lot of it on the run, so it gave you a sense of, like, just being thrown into the thick of it, which is really great for kind of like an action-adventure event book. Like, I'm sure down the road we're going to get a lot more exposition, like, dumped on us, like, in heaping spoonfuls. And there was still a bit of it in here, but just like the way it was done, it moved so fast, there was always conflict going on. You never felt like, okay, now's the scene where we stop everything and explain to you what's going on. If I did have any complaints about the book, my two biggest complaints would be in the writing department, but they're really not that big a deal. Kinda. One of them is Eddie Brock's dialogue. His dialogue in this ranges from, like, 90s wrestler, like professional wrestler dialogue, like, "Mama didn't teach me no manners." Sounds like a Rodney Piper thing to say, which actually almost kind of makes sense for the character of Eddie, but it feels really out of place in, like, a modern comic book. But then all the other stuff that kind of felt weird and out of place was stuff that is kind of a Cullen Bunn thing, where, like, it's a Marvel thing. Like, right now in Marvel, most of the characters, their dialogue is very Joss Whedon-esque, and I love Joss Whedon, but, like, not everybody should sound like that, and certainly not Venom. But I also noticed that in his solo title right now, there's a lot of that going on too, so it might just be holdover from that. And then my other issue with the book was just how quickly Eddie changed his mind into helping them fight. He was like, "What, you just bragging, bring me here, and, like, I'm not gonna fight for you, I'm gonna do it, and tell me these things are hunting me," and then, like, they're attacking, and it's like, "Oh, well, I was brought here to fight, so I guess I'm gonna fight," and that's what's up. But again, it's like, all those things happen in, like, fast enough succession, and enough crazy things are happening, and there's enough cool imagery and some cool action going on that you can, like, kind of just go with it. In regards to the art, the only thing that I wasn't 100% on is the kind of, like, bone baby creatures. Like, they kind of look cool, because I think they're supposed to look like bone again, but sometimes in the images, there just wasn't, like, enough texture to make them look really menacing. Specifically with, like, the Doc Ock one, he looked a little silly. But again, I'm hoping as things go on and we meet other characters who have the poison in them, that, like, we'll get some really cool creatures, because, I mean, hell, why else, like, honestly, why else would you be reading this if it's not to see, like, Venom analogs fight cool, badass creatures? So, that's what I'm hoping for. I was really excited about. So yeah, I highly recommend this book. Go pick it up tomorrow and let me know down in the comments what you think about it. Like this video, share it with a friend, and as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. Nerds come out.
What? You? What are you still doing here? The review is over. Go home. Shouldn't you be watching Linkara, or a YouTuber who matters? Jeez.